Welcome to the Restricted Handling Podcast. This is what's been going on in China in the past 24 hours. We're starting off with an update on US China relations, which seems to be a recurring theme these days. Yesterday, we mentioned President Trump's decision to delay his trip to Beijing, originally scheduled for the end of March. Well, things have evolved since then. As expected, Trump has confirmed that the summit is on hold indefinitely because of the ongoing war with Iran. The optics of it aren't great for Trump, especially when you think about how critical the meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping was supposed to be for smoothing things over. The focus has now shifted back to the Middle East. With oil prices skyrocketing and the Strait of Hormuz still at the center of a conflict, it's clear why Trump needs to stay home. But here's the twist. The U.S. has been pushing its allies to step in and help resolve the shipping crisis in the Strait. And that's where things get complicated. Trump made a public appeal to China to join a naval patrol to secure the vital trade route. And as you might expect, Beijing was quick to pull out its classic diplomatic card and say, nah, not interested. China isn't about to get involved in a messy military conflict over something it already has a close, thwart, but complicated relationship with Iran. Remember, China buys most of Iran's oil, so it's not exactly chomping at the bit to send warships into a potential showdown. Typical China, right? They've got all the trade deals to focus on, so why risk it? This update isn't just about politics, it's also about trade, as we've seen from those ongoing US-China talks. Even while the Middle East crisis intensifies, the trade talks continue. As of March 17, US officials are meeting with Chinese counterparts, trying to get things back on track, particularly regarding agriculture and energy. Sure, we're all skeptical about how this might turn out. We've been burned before by China's backtracking. But hey, we'll see if any of these conversations lead to a breakthrough. Now let's bring it back to Taiwan for a quick moment, because even though the US is consumed with the Iran situation, Taiwan's situation hasn't slowed down. In fact, the arms sale from the US to Taiwan, worth a whopping $14 billion, is still on the table, and you guessed it, China is still throwing fits about it. But Taiwan? They're doubling down on their defense. That's right. As China continues its regular threats, Taiwan's gearing up with missiles, aircraft, and defensive systems. Taiwan's not worried, though, because it knows the US has got its back. So while China keeps yelling from across the strait, Taiwan's building up its security, making sure it's not caught off guard. The US won't stop, and neither will Taiwan. This is about more than just weapons, it's about sovereignty and defense readiness. And let's be real, Taiwan's ready for whatever comes next. Switching gears to something that's often overlooked but is quietly important, China's influence in Southeast Asia. China's not just cozying up to Taiwan. They've got their eyes set on the region. On March 16th, China made a move in Cambodia, donating materials to assist the country in cracking down on online crime. It sounds like a small thing, right? But the truth is, China's influence is getting deep in the region. Cambodia's been fighting cybercrime, and now China's giving them the tools to keep up. At first glance, it's just about clearing out scammers, but let's be real, this could be a deeper move to gain more political leverage. Watch Cambodia closely. They're slowly becoming a little more aligned with Beijing, and that's never a good sign for US interests in the region. Now, let's talk about China's military activity, particularly around Taiwan and the South China Sea. As we mentioned in previous episodes, China's always making a show of flexing its muscles in these areas, and today, it's no different. Taiwan is facing regular incursions from China's military, with planes crossing the median line of the Taiwan Strait almost daily. It's not just a US problem. Taiwan has to deal with it head-on. When China sends its military forces buzzing around the island, Taiwan doesn't sit back. They're deploying their own jets, and they're making sure their forces are alert at all times. It's not a full-on confrontation yet, but the tension is rising. And don't forget that China is keeping its eye on the South China Sea, a critical shipping route for global trade. As they build islands and ramp up their military presence, it's clear China's looking to control what it can. And that's something the US, along with its regional allies, can't just let slide. Expect more activity here, especially with the US conducting freedom of navigation operations to challenge China's claims. Before we wrap it up, let's look at China's growing economic footprint in the Indian Ocean region, particularly in Mauritius. China's been steadily working its way into the region with strategic investments, and it's paying off. As of March 2026, China's increasing control over infrastructure projects in Mauritius, including surveillance tech from Huawei, is something the US and India are closely watching. With Mauritius becoming increasingly dependent on China, this is more than just trade, it's about power dynamics. And let's not forget the stakes. The Chagos archipelago lies just off Mauritius, and the U.S. military base at Diego Garcia is critical to U.S. operations in the region. As China continues expanding its influence in Mauritius, it's only a matter of time before they try to leverage their growing ties to further challenge U.S. interests. Finally, let's not overlook the ongoing U.S.-China rivalry when it comes to artificial intelligence. China is having a little internal crisis with AI tech after the OpenClaw debacle. OpenClaw, a tool that allows users to automate tasks, has surged in popularity across China, but the security risks have the government in a bit of a panic. The Ministry of State Security has issued guidelines to curb its use, citing the potential cybersecurity risks involved. It's classic China: push innovation, but make sure the state has control over it. Expect this to become a recurring theme as China continues to dominate in the AI space, but not without some bumps in the road. Thanks for listening and helping grow our community. Please take a moment to leave a 5-star review. We also publish a daily written intel brief on Substack, where you'll find even deeper coverage of Russia and China, along with insights on Iran, the Middle East, and the DPRK.